is designed to help you understand the resources, the opportunities, and supports available to ensure a smooth and successful transition to high school. Next week, students will meet their counselors in classrooms to explore these opportunities and resources and learn how they can support their personal and academic goals. So each student will be meeting their counselor and also receive a full lesson with regards to goal setting as well as all the academic, extracurricular activities and other opportunities. If you scan the QR code on the flyer, as I said before, located on the table outside, you should have access to tonight's presentation. You also have a printed copy of the 9th grade handbook, which goes along with what we'll be reviewing this evening. And finally, you should have a copy of the extracurricular and clubs handbook, which highlights all the wonderful ways students can get involved here at Cold Spring Harbor. Please feel free to jot down any questions as we will have a time for Q&A at the end. I'd like to mention that tonight's presentation is being recorded, and the recording will be shared on our very new YouTube channel. We're very excited to launch that just recently. And you can easily access the recording through our YouTube channel, which is posted on our website. And also the link was shared by Parent Square, I believe it was last week. We hope this will be a helpful, the YouTube channel will be a helpful resource for you. We also have a revamped website in which you can go and peruse grade level information, not only for your 9th grade student, but also for years ahead. And so if there are any questions with regards to any information, any concerns or feedback, please do not hesitate to reach out to the counselors or me as we are here to help. Here's a look at what we'll cover this evening. So we'll start by the introduction of our counseling and student support staff, followed by an overview of the role of the high school counselor. Then we'll highlight key events and timelines from the 25-26 school calendar. We'll also discuss how students can maximize their high school experience, review diploma requirements, and touch on course selection, GPA, and extracurriculars. That is a packed agenda, but we're here, giving you all the information, and you can always, once again, go back to all of the documents as well as the recording, and also, again, have conversations with the counselor. And finally, we'll share some important resources and wrap up with questions. So, our counseling center is here to support students academically, socially, and emotionally throughout their high school years, as well as to get students ready for post-secondary planning, college career, get them future ready. And so, as I mentioned, I'm Jeanette Alomia, Director of Counseling. I have over 18 years of experience working at the secondary level, primarily as a high school counselor, and I'm so honored and delighted and pleased to have joined the team. This is my second year in the district, and I'm just, like I said, delighted, excited to be working alongside my team and also helping all of our students and families. So I have an amazing team of counselors. Some of them are here, and we will hear from them. We have Ms. Donahue, Jennifer Donahue. She is our wellness counselor and 504 chairperson. She is currently conducting counseling sessions, very exciting stuff about study skills and time management, and so she's running those groups for grade level 7 through 10. So that's a great resource to have, Ms. Donahue. She's also doing evening events. She's in classrooms, so she's going along with the rest of the team. We have another great counselor, Ms. Angelica Ferraro, and she's here joining us. We have Ms. Beth Heather Friedland, Ms. Jacqueline Kovach-Devlin. She's here. She will be speaking to us as well. Ms. Jennifer Pickering, I think you all know who Ms. Pickering is. She is our junior high counselor. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Gerard Spinato, counselor. So we also have two amazing office assistants that help run office very smoothly, and I always say they're the real boss, right? They're the ones that know what's going on, and they have a pulse on everything. And those office assistants' names are Ms. Tracy Roninger, as well as Ms. Donna Mizzakiza. So we do have our social worker and our support staff help students with regards to goal setting, again, from a personal perspective. Our social worker, Ms. Laura Navarre, provides ongoing support and intervention when students need help navigating personal and social challenges. Our school psychologist, Dr. Beth Chase, Dr. Carrie Dujeva at the high school, and Dr. Suzanne Main at the junior high, who work primarily with the grade 7 and 8 students, assist with evaluations, counseling, and helping students manage some social, emotional, and other types of learning-related needs. So together we form a team committed to supporting every student's growth, resilience, and success. Dr. Lujeva and Dr. Chase are in the counseling center along with the counseling team. And we just want to let you know that we are here to support our students, again, not only based on academics and, making sure that students are taking rigorous classes, being challenged, being involved in activities, but also that they are managing high school and the personal side of it, and that we're here as an added support. Okay, so here is Mr. Spinato, who will be discussing the role of the high school counselor. Mr. Spinato.
Good evening. So we're first on out with the idea of the role of a high school counselor. First off, it's a privilege to be able to work with your sons and daughters every day. I really look forward to being in the office, seeing them in the morning, mid-afternoon at 2:30. They always have questions. They're always looking for some direction, and I really thoroughly enjoy doing that, as well as the other counselors. To break this down, there's 3 parts on this slide: college and career readiness planning, academic advising and transcript management, individual and family consultation. Start with the first one, college and career readiness planning. I guess for me, as a counselor, what I feel is important is to help create clear and realistic goals for their future, and try my best to help them explore post-secondary options as early as possible. So every conversation that at least I have is always going to be tied to a career path and maybe some college aspirations. And then keeping them informed of those things along the way, and checking in with them regularly to make sure that they still have the same clear goals that we set along the way. So from 9th grade through 12th grade, that goal setting is important. And I want to see them achieve those milestones and work through the challenges, the classes, the rigor, and make good, healthy decisions. That way they can actually attain that collegiate goal and then tie that to their future, which is their career. I think it's really, really important. So we do a pretty thorough check with that. We're very involved and hands-on, and a lot of conversations happen on the daily in our offices to make sure that's actually happening. And along the way, we always provide structured timelines and checklists, so exit tickets during conversations. For example, we'll be in the classroom next week, and in that conversation, we'll have some goal setting going on, and then on a form, they're going to clearly write some questions they have for us, maybe a goal or two that they have in mind, and some future aspirations, and then we'll collect that information, and we'll meet with them again. We'll have a conversation about that. It's also something they can, view and bring home to their family. That way they can have more conversation, which is another critical part. It's also with communicating to us of how we impart that to them to bring it home to you, the way you're informed, and then whatever questions or concerns you have, you bring that back to us. So it's constantly cycling through with help, clarity, and confirmation of what they're asking or what they're sharing. The second part of the slide is academic advising and transcript management. We want to make sure that students understand their graduation requirements, what it takes to graduate Coastal Harbor High School, which is a pretty rigorous school. And make sure they know exactly how many credits they need, what kind of classes they can take, the sequences that are involved, how many sciences, how many math, right, electives they can take, and then try to tie that to that future collegiate aspiration, to make sure that they're always in tune with, hey, this is what school is looking for, am I providing them that down the line? applied there because of the courses that I took. So we're always trying to check in with them, along the way with our advisement. Additionally, we're always monitoring academic progress, and again, connecting the choice of college and career goals. So if you're a STEM-oriented student, right, and you love robotics and engineering, and you want to go into engineering, are you taking the proper math classes that way you can survive that collegiate experience when you're there? So we always try to reinforce what classes they're taking, right, how they're performing in them, and then how does a college see that? And additionally, once you're out of college, how does the future job that you're going to have view your performance, right? So as much experience as they can get now, tie that to college, and then push that to their collegiate experience, right, and then to their career goals. Lastly on the slide, individual and family consultation. We always encourage students to come in. We'll find them as well with our passes. And additionally, parents can always call, email, or come in for a consultation and talk with us about anything you want at any time. So feel free to connect with your counselor, and we can make that conversation happen. So even though it's ninth grade and college is not for a few years, right, 4 years away, you can come in and have that college conversation a little early if you like. So please feel connected to do so if you would like to do that. Or any concerns academically, a transcript review, the sequencing, right, credits, graduation requirements, what are colleges looking at these days. Those conversations are welcome, and you can call or email, like I said, or come in for a conversation for a consult. And down the line, when they're juniors, we'll have an actual pre-college experience where they'll come in, we'll talk about the college experience, which is your junior college meeting. And in that meeting, we'll talk about how we've done over the last few years, transcript review, some colleges that you're interested in, maybe some majors and minors, things like that, and future career goals. And then talk about what, as a family, what your concerns are and what your interests are as well. So you can go home and have a conversation about it. And when they're seniors, they'll be in line to know what they have to do in terms of the actual college application process. We want to communicate through individual meetings like classroom lessons and group sessions, which we're doing. Again, ninth grade, we do 10th grade with career exploration. Junior year, we do the college application process. And we go back in with seniors again, do the same thing, which is a meet and greet and also the college experience. Continuing on with the role of counselor, we also want to have a good check-in with social, emotional wellness support. Promoting well-being and a balanced lifestyle in high school is really important. Yes, grades are really important. Striving for honors, the political courses are important, I understand that. Playing sports is important, but also having a balanced lifestyle and taking care of oneself, right? Conversation with family, number one. Diet, exercise, getting enough sleep, right? And having some downtime. And those are important aspects to high school career also. We always try to make sure the students are doing that. And that's also, a part of the academic rigor and extracurricular activities that we talk about as secondary planning. To get there, though, you have to be healthy. So a clear mind and a healthy body will help you get to that point. We also want to provide support and referrals when needed. So if you have a concern, that might be something that is personal, and you want to have a conversation about it, we can take that to the building team and have a discussion about it and make sure that your son or daughter is being taken care of. And we would share the information confidentially. Secondly, access to advocacy. Access and advocacy. To ensure that all students have access to college and career resources and track and review data to ensure student success. That's our responsibility, advocate for your sons and daughters. We're their voice in the building. If they need something, we'll try our best to accommodate it. But we want to make sure that they're taken care of and have the access to things like Naviance, right, and other platforms to do college research, and also a career exploration, which is also embedded in Naviance. Those tools are their future, and along the way, like we always do, we'll track and review data to ensure that they're doing okay, which is grades, obviously, things like that. Continuing on, so ongoing academic monitoring. So we review academic progress reports when they're issued. We just had issuing on Monday, I believe. With those progress reports, we can do teacher comments and then look at their grades to see how well they're doing. And any concerns that we have, We would then call the student in and have a conversation about it. On the home front, if you see concerns also, please email or call, or if you want to set a meeting to talk about it, we're there for you also. So we'll definitely have conversations long-term over progress. If we notice something, we would definitely talk with the student, and feel free to call or email as well. So we meet, by the way, report cards are also looked at, so report cards too. So we're looking at all that data, and if we see concerns, we'll connect with the student. Counselors meet with students and families to discuss concerns as needed. If we have to, like I said before, a team meeting, right, or a building plan will be implemented to help support the student if needed. So it's a very team-oriented, collaborative environment with absolute support for the student. I've been in many of those situations and find it super helpful. It's always for the well-being of the student to make sure they're doing well. Next, so in September and October, classroom visitations like we're having right now will ensue. Counselors will visit 9th grade classrooms, introduce the opportunities and resources available at the high school level, which we're doing next week. I enjoy those conversations because they get to know us, we get to know them. We get to have some fun with them in the classroom, share some insight, get a sense of who they are, and then look forward to our individual meetings as well, which we're also doing so they get to know us along the way. We're an access point for them, for students in this year, Sons of Daughters. If they have something on their mind, we want them to come to us and share, or we can help, impart some wisdom, maybe add some clarity, do some goal setting, and get them, in the classroom doing well, staying healthy. Next, individual meetings with students will be conducted to learn about each student, check in, like I was saying before, make sure the transition to high school is going well, right? Do they have access to Canvas? Is there, are their Chromebooks working? Simple things like that. You know, talk to your teacher. If you miss a homework assignment, how do you clarify with your teacher that you missed it? That way, maybe there's an opportunity to make it up, or maybe you can. But what can you do next time? Make sure that doesn't happen again, right? Or as a test moving along, and I want to prepare for it. Do you have the courage or the strength to talk to your teacher about improved study habits? How do they perform, on their own is important for independence, growth, right, and development all through high school. As you're channeling through high school, classes are going to get more challenging and difficult. They're going to need more clarity, more goals, and the strength to talk to their teacher for help. So we want to impart that courage to them. And of course, coming to us as the counselors, we'll talk about goal setting. Of course, in particular, where they need some help with some challenges. We'll even talk to the teacher as well and get some clarity to help them with their studies. We always want to have growth and improvement along the way. It requires conversation and a team effort between the student, counselor, and family. So when we visit 9th grade classrooms this week, again, we're going to exit ticket. They're going to learn from our conversation, write some ideas down, we'll review it, and then bring them back in for another conversation as well. In addition, always checking in with them along the way, so they're always going to be looked after. So if you want to learn more about that too, of course, like I said, feel free to contact the counselor. In December, we'll start academic planning, what the thought of it. We'll have a program of study published that will be shared, which is going to have the courses for the following year that you guys can look through. What's going to happen once we start school in January after winter break, we'll start having our meetings with students and families to talk about programming and discuss exactly how their recommendations for the teachers were submitted. What does that entail? How did they do? What quarters were involved in that thought? It also gives the student the access to talk to their teachers and say, hey, I noticed this with my recommendation for this level. I wanted to be in this class. Can you give me some insight as to why I made it or did not make it? And maybe there's room to grow. That way they can have that happen down the line. So we always try to impart conversation, review requests, enter in some elective ideas to make sure that they're being programmed according to their goals, your goals as well as family. That way they're successful. In spring semester, end of the year, we'll talk more about more advising support opportunities regarding ambiance, summer opportunities, final exams, reuse exams, and summer sports tuition if required. Sir?
One question. I know there's lots of counselors. I was just wondering, does each child get assigned to work with one counselor, or as of now, because we don't know who our counselor is for our child. Okay, we'll know that in the future.
So you can go to the eSchool portal, and when you view the schedule, or if you view a report card or progress report, the name of the counselor should be listed. The counselor follows the student grades 9 through 12, so you're going to have that one counselor consistently. If you still cannot find the name of the counselor, please let us know. We're hearing that there's some stuff that is not showing on the eSchool portal, so please reach out to me, Ms. Alomia, or, I can definitely email me, and we'll definitely get that counselor name out to you.
Thank you.
So maximizing the high school experience, academics, community engagement, extracurriculars, and personal growth are really important aspects. I like when students are involved in their community. I think volunteering is really important. There's plenty of organizations along the way that students can get involved in to gain hours, not just for National Honor Society or other clubs on campus, but just for their own personal growth. There's always people out there who need help. There's plenty of organizations that need it, and we always suggest more than not to get involved in those community organizations for personal growth. Again, providing strong academics, clear-cut goals that are realistic and accessible and obtainable are what we kind of work with, and your own personal growth. And I think it all comes from all those things, and I think it also comes from conversation and that environment at home, and you guys kind of connecting, and if you want us to connect with them too, we will. So here's some diploma requirements and courses that students are involved in. This is not a transcript, it's just kind of a listing of classes that students take and the total number of credits required to graduate high school with those. It's 22 credits total graduation in New York State. The students take 4-H classes, for social studies classes like global, for example, U.S. history, economics, public affairs, math credit, 3 years of math, science, 3 years, a life science like biology, for example, physical science and chemistry or physics, life science, physical science, like I just said, world language, 1 year, art and music is about a year. Students tend to take more of these though. People take foreign language for 4 years, they love it, whether in band, whether in ensemble, or a orchestra, for example, or 4 years of course. Physical education, 2 credits. Health is a requirement from New York State. You have to take a health class. Any electives you may want to take for 3.5 credits worth for a total of 22. Next, assessment or reach exams that are usually taken. So for some students, biology or earth and space can be taken in 8th or 9th grade. Because you have some 8th graders that are still a little young, maybe, that might be taking those too, including algebra, which is pretty common, especially for Postman Harbor. It's not uncommon to see a transcript for a senior with exams from 8th grade that are already on there. French or Spanish, which is the Class A exam in 8th or 9th grade as well. Global history, which is you'll take in 10th grade, which is the global exam. Geometry, algebra 2, chemistry, French or Spanish. The Flax B, which is offered in grade 10 here, which is a comprehensive local exam. English, U.S. history, government, and of course physics, things like that. So there's a lot to be offered, plus electives, some honors classes, and run together into 8th level courses that will cover those electives, that will cover those assessments as well, with the 4 classes and the 5 assessments. Mrs. Farrar will take over.
Good evening. I'm Angelica Ferraro. It's nice to see so many of you here. I've had the pleasure of meeting a handful of you already. So welcome to 9th grade, and who's ready to plan for 10th grade? So I feel like a lot of the information we're sharing can be a bit overwhelming. We're talking about welcoming you to high school and then talking already about programs of study and college and career planning. But I think the goal for us is to demystify the process and give you some insight into what's coming in future years and know what you have access to early on so you don't hesitate to reach out to us. So not meant to be intimidating that we're sharing information about the future, just meant to allow you to know more about us and our resources. Some of you may already be familiar with the program of study guide. It's used in the junior high as well, so it really is a great resource, not for just this year as you're going to plan for your students' 10th grade year, but also in looking ahead to what the possibilities may be. I would say majority of our students, no two students typically have the same course of study over their 4 years here, and it's really a testament to the opportunities that we offer. So students can really personalize their experience, and this program of study really helps you to plan that sooner rather than later. In the program of study, you can read course descriptions, understand course expectations as you're planning for the following years. And it's an opportunity to connect what students are learning in the classroom, maybe if they have an area of interest this year, selecting a course that expands on that interest. We continue to talk about goal setting, and sometimes it's hard for students to know what they want to do 4 years from now in college or even further along when they're talking about careers, but we could ask the question, what interests you? And then use the program of study to follow those interests, select courses based on those interests, and maybe decide, hey, that's not for me, let's try something different next year. But it really helps to guide some of the choices and give you as families insight into what opportunities exist here. So again, looking ahead, not to scare everybody, but just to demystify what's coming down on the calendar. In December this year, teachers will submit their course recommendations that Mr. Spinato began sharing. And our teachers really do take the time to make thoughtful recommendations about where they see a student that's currently in their classroom doing well the following year. They make that recommendation based on the student's progress through December in their classes and based on the knowledge of the courses that are in their department for the following years. So the program of study guide will be available in digital form in December, and then printed copies will be available when we return from the winter break in January, and students will receive those. I would say it's important to look at the teacher recommendations and then read the description of that course so you have a full understanding of where your teacher, your student's current teacher is seeing where they would fit for the following year. When you're looking at the course guide and planning to come in for a meeting with us as well, that'll be in January or February, you could utilize the course guide to talk about overall balance, elective choices. As 9th graders, most students will also be planning to take a half credit in health, as that's a graduation requirement. And prior to coming into meeting with us in January and February, there will be an elective fair, so 9th grade students will know more about what is open to them and what opportunities exist outside of their core classes. In the individual meetings with the counselor, we start with the upper grades and work backwards, so don't be afraid if you don't hear from us immediately about scheduling a meeting right when we return from break. 9th graders will probably come towards the end of that month. And we will meet to review those recommendations, discuss electives, talk about rigor in the context of the individual student. We get asked a lot of questions like, what's the right number of honors courses? What's the right number of AP courses? That number doesn't exist. It's really what's best for your student and the progress that they're making on their individual track. We're going to invite parents to come in for those meetings. I think it's a really great opportunity for you to get to know us, for us to get to know more about a student. You'd be so surprised that I could have a student for 2, 3, 4 years, and I didn't know that they spend hundreds of hours doing ballet outside of school because they never thought to mention it, but thank goodness mom and dad came in and told me. So starting earlier, having them in the 9th grade really gives more opportunity for that conversation to get the bigger picture of what a student is like, not only inside the classroom, but outside as well. Once we have those meetings in February, you'll be able to review everything in the portal, just to confirm that everything we talked about together is appropriately entered. And then, sometimes you leave our office and you might have a change of heart, or you might have an additional question, we might make a change. We're going to ask that any changes be requested before March, really to help us work through the scheduling process more cleanly, make things cleaner for students, and make sure that they get what they need. The sooner we know that information, the better we can address it. So again, factors to consider. Your grades, how are you performing in your current courses? Rigor, is what you're taking currently appropriate based on your needs and abilities? learning opportunities, what courses present learning opportunities that are a good fit for you or a good interest to you. Post-high school and college planning, if you already have a post-secondary goal, what classes are supportive of that goal? For college admission, yes, we're already talking about college, even though, again, we don't want to provoke anxiety. It's just something I think on the minds of almost every student that walks through our doors, so we don't want to dismiss that need and not want to know more information. So they want to see growth. It's about improvement, increased challenge, whatever is appropriate for you. So what does a college want you to do? They want you to do your best and make the decisions that will lead to growth over your 4 years of high school. Balance in the schedule, so you're balancing not only your courses, you're balancing your commitments outside of school, your extracurriculars, your self-care, your family time, the opportunity to still be a kid while you're in high school. And I'm going to pass it to Ms. Kovach-Devlin, but don't worry, I'll be back.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Jacqueline Kovach-Devlin. I'm one of the high school counselors, so I have a section of 9th graders, and I've met with, I think, all of them so far to introduce myself and show them where my office is and how to get in touch with me and things like that. So what I tell them is that 9th grade counts, and I think there's this misconception out there that sometimes colleges will only look at junior and senior year, and that's absolutely not true. So just the importance of starting out on a strong foot and making good habits now, because 9th grade does count on your transcript. So what's on the transcript? It's a record of all the courses taken and grades earned both in the courses and on Regents exams. It's posted on the portal for you to see. There is one there now because it started actually for most students in the 8th grade, and I'll talk about that in a second. How do you know how you're doing? I mean, in addition to all the progress checks that we're going to be doing with the students, you want to just make sure there's a good balance year to year of courses that are appropriate. You want it challenging but manageable, as we always say. So this is what a 9th grade transcript looks like right now on their portal. If your child, and most did, took the life science biology course last year in the Regents, that counts for graduation, so that is on their transcript already. And most took either Spanish or French last year, so that's listed. And then many students took algebra. So those are the 3 courses from 8th grade that are currently on the transcript and will carry through their entire high school transcript. They received 1 credit for each one of those courses. And then you'll see on the right-hand side, those are the Regents exams. It's a state-given exam, so it is reported on the transcript. Then they'll see all the courses that are currently in progress. So obviously no grades are reported at this time, but you can just check and make sure that everything is correct on that screen. By the time they're seniors, it looks a little more like this, so it's a lot fuller. Again, that record of all the courses taken, it'll indicate if it's an honors class, an AP class. The final grade only shows up on the academic transcript, not each and every semester, but just the final course grade. On the right-hand side, we explain our grading policy, and again, all the Regents exams. A tally of all the credits is given each year. There's 22 credits needed, as we mentioned before, in the state of New York for graduation. Our students have usually way more than that because of just all the elective courses they're taking and things like that. And then any in-school honor societies are also listed on their transcript. So this student is an AP Scholar, National Honor Society. There's things like Tri-M. There's a bunch of different ones that we report on the transcript. Okay, a GPA calculation. It's based on all of the course grades with exception of physical education. So all the major courses, all the electives, art, music are all factored into the GPA. Honors and AP courses are weighted, so we report a weighted and an unweighted GPA in the transcript, and that weighted GPA comes from those honors and AP courses. GPAs are rounded to the 100th. Accelerated courses, as in biology from last year, it has accelerated in front of it. That does not count towards an honors credit. And then, like I said, there's a weighted and an unweighted. They're both reported on the transcript. This is hard to see here, but in the student handbook that your child brought home the first week of school, This is on one of the first 2 pages. It's just how the GPA is calculated, what the grades equate to, if they have an A, what that equates to, and how we actually calculate the overall GPA. So if you're curious about that, it is in that student handbook, and we can help you with any questions you might have about that. Okay, Ms. Farrar, you're back. Thank you.
Okay, so we did spend a lot of time talking about courses and grades, but we also did share what's valuable, what students are doing outside of the classroom. So how are they spending their time in clubs and activities? This is a snapshot of what a Canvas page calendar looks like for our clubs and activities page on Canvas. So students are able to go and hover over each time slot there and see which clubs are running when. This is not the only place that they could find information about clubs. They're also other announcements made each morning, and many clubs also post flyers throughout the school building, so they're getting the information in multiple ways. In that student activities handbook that you picked up at the table before coming in, it also lists the club advisors, so should a student not know where a club is being held or at what time, what day of the week, they'd be able to contact that advisor as well to get that information. In addition to school clubs and activities, we encourage involvement in the general community and outside as well. It doesn't only count if you're doing it at Cold Spring Harbor High School. There are so many opportunities that our students take advantage of. So as much as we want to encourage involvement and investment here, we encourage general investment in our overall community as well. We talked a little bit about honor societies in relation to the transcript. So this is the list of honor societies that we currently have at Cold Spring Harbor, as well as the GPAs for honor roll and high honor roll. And those are each month, each report card reading. One of the big things I think is important for 9th grade families to know is the community service requirement for National Honor Society. And you could speak with Ms. Giorgio more, she's the advisor, but 20 hours of community service are required for each year of high school in 2 placements. So starting this year, students should be investing in community service if they have a goal of being part of National Honor Society at the end of their junior year. We do have detailed information about the requirements for each of the honor societies, so that's being shared with students as well, and we can share that if needed.
What do you mean by two placements? Sorry, you said something about in two placements?
Community service hours.
Oh, 2 different, sorry, I get on my train of thought and I have to go back to what I said.
The 2 placements, they mean 2 different locations. So all 20 hours can't be at Helping Hands. It has to be, you could do 19 at Helping Hands, but at least 1 hour needs to be somewhere else. So students need to do community service at 2 different locations, placements, areas. You're welcome. Naviance. This is a tool that students get introduced to with Ms. Pickering in the junior high school. It's used for college and career readiness, and it has a lot of different tools embedded in it, and we do get to take advantage of a lot of the tools inside. The college process and the application, we use it for the nitty-gritty down the road, but as underclassmen, we do introduce it as early as the 10th grade. So these are some of the self-discovery tools that they have. And we do use one related to careers as early as 10th grade. We do a classroom lesson. We talk about student strengths and what careers they related to. I think it's a really valuable lesson because students sometimes end up with career matches that are 100% exactly what they want to do, but the best ones are when they're like, absolutely not. This does not get me at all. Why the heck do they think that this would be a good fit for me? And it sparks a conversation about what they truly think would be a good fit for a career, or maybe they still don't know why, but we learn about strengths and weaknesses and we start talking about them in goal setting based on these conversations and the interest inventories. At that point, we do the scheduling process again next year. Every year, it'll be so much fun. So in 10th grade, we're also talking about additional opportunities that exist. One of the roles that I have in the counseling office is to serve as liaison with Wilson Tech BOCES. And we do have students that attend vocational programs for half of the day. So we present that as an opportunity to students as they're looking more into career opportunities. We have students that like get to jump in a plane and fly and then come back to Cold Spring Harbor. It sounds pretty cool to me. I've been in the hangar at Wilson Tech. If you have any questions about those opportunities or Long Island High School for the Arts, we could also talk about that coming into 10th grade schedule planning. But again, career interests become a big part of the conversation as we move on in the year. Thank you.
So as we are concluding our presentation, I wanted to share some additional information and resources. You already have the 9th grade Paradigm Handbook, and you have learned a little bit about Naviance, and so these are hyperlinks in which you and your student and your child can log in and explore Naviance from a career exploration perspective, or even moving ahead, doing a little bit of college research. We do have Naviance has a scholarship feature that's later down the road. Upperclassmen students do apply to various scholarships that are posted and they're updated on this platform. So parents will have access to Naviance in 10th grade and usually send out a communication with the code so that you can go in and, go shoulder to shoulder with your student, or also during your meetings with the counselor and explore the platform. It can be a bit overwhelming, but again, just take it one day at a time. We're here for you. Naviance also has an activity resume builder in which your student and your child will need to start, developing as they are engaged in extracurricular activities, moving ahead in a club, going from a member of the club to, let's say, a treasurer or the president of that student organization. So those are meaningful highlights and activities that a student might want to put on their resume or activities sheet, in which will be eventually included or delineated in what's called a common application. But we're not going to talk about that tonight. And then we have the 9th grade checklist and timeline. So if you did scan the QR code, you do have access currently to that timeline. And we are committed to give you and expose you to information with regards to college readiness, career readiness, so that you know what's ahead. There's going to be some tasks that are appropriate for 9th grade, then there are going to be tasks that are and responsibilities that are appropriate for 10th grade, and so on. But we just want to basically give you a heads up as to what's to come. But for 9th grade checklist and timeline, we found this one-page document quite useful. Again, you want to sit and share this and discuss across the kitchen table, going to lacrosse practice, wherever you are. It would be great to have those meaningful conversations. We also encourage you to view the Guidance Light newsletter, which is published and blasted out through Parent Square on a monthly basis. So there you'll see a plethora of information from, college fairs to when, important dates such as progress report time or report cards are posted. So we have and a very fun college trivia at the end. So we encourage you to look at the newsletter and again, definitely pay attention to those many Parent Square notifications that are coming from our department, from the Counseling Center. And again, we have revamped the website, our department's website, so we encourage you to peruse and go and click away, with a nice cup of coffee on a Saturday morning, and again, have that.
What's the URL?
I'm sorry?
What's the URL?
So when you go to cshk12ny.us, the regular website, www.csh.k12.ny.us. You're going to departments, then counseling center, and then from there, you'll see a whole menu on the left-hand side, and you'll see titles such as academic planning, college readiness. So we have streamlined because we feel that we want this to make this easier for you to just locate the information, have access to the information, that it's easy. And again, if there are any questions, feel free to reach out. So again, www.csh.k12.ny.us. So that brings us to the end of tonight's presentation. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for coming. We know that this transition can feel quite overwhelming. I am a parent of a sophomore in college and a child that is went through the special education services, and so she has a different path, post-secondary. I have a 19 and a 22-year-old, so I do know as a parent what it's like to definitely navigate through the whole, high school and the demands of the courses and activities and balancing all of that. So, and I think that our counselors, which have definitely an average of, 15, 20 years of experience, are well versed in their craft, and they can definitely share information and empower you with the information that you need to know so that, again, your student is future ready, college career ready. So I'd like to open now the floor for any questions. If you wish to have those specific private conversations or personal conversations with us, we'll be here for a few minutes to have those. You can approach us. However, I will open the floor if you have any questions with regards to this information.
Can you share anything about the capstone? I don't know if she's my first as a freshman, and I hear people talking about the capstone, and I don't know if that's too early to think about or what it is. If you can...
So it's never too early, and so I encourage you to absolutely, when you meet with the counselor, to talk about course selection, to discuss the two classes that primarily would have a student earn a capstone diploma or certificate. But basically, this is through the College Board, in which students are engaged and take AP seminar, AP research, and not only engage in these classes, but they can certainly earn a certificate or a diploma, depending upon a diploma through the capstone program, the College Board, depending upon their AP exam scores. So I would definitely, when you sit down individually with the counselor, discuss what it entails, but basically AP seminar and AP research gives an opportunity for students to do some research and present on topics that the student is passionate about. So it's not imposed that you have to talk about quantum physics or world history or a math or a social studies subject. These are weighted classes. Again, they are exams. The AP research has a writing component. The AP seminar has a multiple choice and writing component or free writing component. And so, again, the program of study is the key guide that will give you the course description of each class. And your counselor will be a great source to talk about, what are the, the commitment, what's the commitment, the time, that you would need to invest with regards to when you're taking these classes, very challenging classes. But that's great. Great question. Once again, these AP classes culminate with AP exams in May, which are administered the first 2 weeks in May. And so our policy is that if a student is sitting in an AP class, they are expected and required to take the AP exam in that May. And so once the scores are released in July, the student and the parent decide whether they want to share that in the application later on when they're applying as a senior in the college applications. And so those, that's another highlight that can be, brought to, to again, mention in the application. And of course, these courses will be displayed on the student's transcript. I know it's a lot of information, but again, this presentation is being recorded, so you can always revisit, but you can always reach out to us. There was another question over there, right next to it. Sorry? No, okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And again, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions, feedback, and concerns. So thank you so much.